What's up, people? Welcome to week 11. Wow. Wow, we can't believe it. Can't believe it. Can't believe that so many things are about to happen. Tomorrow's Halloween. What? Uh we are like 4 weeks away from the end of the semester, which means that we'll have a new president by the end. That's next week. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'll be recording this lecture on the day before the election, and that is very scary to think. Anyways, that's just shocking. So we'll have a new president. By the time in just a few weeks, it'll be Thanksgiving. What? Crazy. Okay, I'm looking at the schedule here. And so we are wrapping up. You're turning in SA2 next week. Now, look, I know on the sheet it says, for some reason, it says October 30th. That's weird. No, things are never turned in middle of the week. Okay, this is due on the 4th. All right. I mean, it's due on the 3rd, technically. Actually, I don't care if it can be 4th. I'm just gonna put 11/4 Monday night. I'm not gonna grade SA2 until Tuesday. So on election day, uh, we don't have school. School is out because some of the schools in Gwinnett County are voting sites. My school is not a voting site, so I'll be on campus, but I won't have students. So I plan on grading your essays. Okay, SA2. I'm not promising it will be graded before the 2 weeks. Like SA1 took me 2 weeks. SA2 might take me 1 week. It might take me two weeks. I might start grading it on Tuesday, but then get totally like distracted by the results. And if results go away in which I'm not happy with, I might be so depressed that it will take me 2 weeks to grade the essays. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Not sure. All right, but I will. But I will say this though. My camera just focused. I will be grading on Tuesday. Okay. And I could grade much faster than SA1. So it is your goal to get SA2 submitted by Monday night. If you are a high school dual enrollment student and you could benefit from being out of school on Tuesday to work on your paper. I'm sure if you get your paper in by the end of the day on Tuesday, be fine. I don't think I'm going to blow through grading 70 essays. Usually only about 60% of the kids turn their papers in on time. I don't think I'll get I'll grade all those in one day, but who knows? I might be like just super inspired. Okay. So I say all that to say that I'm anticipating getting these essays done before the 2 weeks are over. Okay, so if you were a person who turned your essay in kind of late for SA1, then you should try to turn in earlier. Okay, more closer to on time. All right, I'm gonna pause recording for a moment because my coffee's done. Resume back. Love the coffee. Do you ever feel like you get so behind on things and then you're like overwhelmed with all the things you got to do? I know you feel this way because you send me emails. You'll send me a lot of emails about this, right? And that's where I currently am with my classroom dishes. I have a lot of cups. I have a lot of dishes, and I have not cleaned any of my dishes in, I'll just say this, all of October. Okay, so now I am down to my few that are not as dirty as others are. Kind of gross. Okay, I'll admit, I'm sorry. Okay, so but this is just me talking to you. Okay, let's get to this today. So Schedule. I updated this 11-4. Okay. We're talking about finalizing SA2. Kind of reviewing MLA formatting just because that's naturally gonna be part of me reviewing SA2. And then I'm going to show you an A SA1 and a D SA1. And if I'm using your SA1 for the D example, I'm sorry. It's something personal. Something personal. Okay. All right. So let's be clear on how I'm going to grade your paper. Okay. All right. So SA2 rough draft. All right. This is a paper by Harold Bloom. Not really. Harold Bloom. If I have inspired any of you to go into the realm of an English major, okay, to decide to pick up the mantle and carry forth into English majoreth, you will come across Harold Bloom a lot. He is a pretty famous critic. Okay, so you will see a lot of him. But this person, Harold Bloom's not actually in our class. I changed that name. Okay, I'm a liar. All right. So I was just gonna open up the notes that I posted last week because they're important. All right. So for SA1, okay, SA1, you should have, it needs to be in MLA formatting. You need to have at least 2 sources, okay? The quotes need to be integrated into the paragraphs, and it needs to follow the outline that I gave y'all, all right? Here's this person's outline. Now, I will not, for every single paper, I don't pull up the outline and the essay, okay? I don't always compare them, okay? Especially if I read the essay and I'm like, this hits everything. This is good. This is great. I don't care if it's not the same as the outline. It could be on a different topic, whatever, right? Because if you turn in a good paper, oh, you can come in. I'll pause. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. All right, sorry, y'all. Share screen 2. Here we are. All right. So I'm not going to be looking at your outline in regards to your paper, unless your paper is crazy all over the place, or I get spidey senses about it. All right. I might compare it to your outline and see, because I had people from, there were students who made very low scores on SA1. And then I looked at their outline, and their outline was legit. Their outline covered everything, but then they just completely disregarded their outline and wrote some random paper. Okay, that won't be accepted. Your paper, what I'm expecting is, maybe I don't care about the topic as much, but like your paper needs to have a clear introduction. It needs to have, which I went over in the notes, what I'm looking for in your introduction. All right. Look, the rough drafts that y'all turned in were prior to me giving you these notes on the introduction. Okay. So for example, this rough draft has a 3.5 line introduction. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on millions of people around the world, changing how we live, work, and interact with each other. Understanding COVID-19 involves looking at how it is classified, comparing it to past diseases, and examining the causes and effects of its spread. Now, this really is mostly just a thesis. We have 1 sentence and then a thesis statement. This thesis is good, even before I went over thesis statements, which is great, all right? But now that I have gone over these notes, in your introduction, you want to start off broad and then move to a more narrow and specific idea, resulting in your thesis statement, okay? And I provide you an example. Look, this example is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12.5 lines. The introduction doesn't have to be as long as a body paragraph, but it needs to be, similar to it. You don't want a super short introduction, okay? This person, Harold Bloom, not real name, If they turn in their final draft with this exact same introduction, they're going to lose points. You're going to lose points because this is not a long enough introduction. I gave you this example, so you need to add this. Okay. I want you to work on this for the introduction. The thesis statement the person wrote was a good thesis statement. It did everything it was supposed to do. It followed the notes well, even though I hadn't gone over the notes yet, which is totally fine. And so this person who is working on their rough on their draft to submit to for the final paper needs to add more to this introduction. All right. So if they're working on their paper, they need to add this. All of the spacing looks good. Let's see, paragraph 0, 0, double. Exactly right. 0, 0, double. Good. That's good. Okay. So then let's look at the claims for each paragraph. COVID-19 can be classified in several ways. Okay, great. Clearly, this is a classification paragraph. Claim for the next paragraph. COVID-19 stands out when compared to other diseases in history due to its global impact and the response it prompted. For example, blah, blah, blah. Great. This is clearly a comparison contrast paragraph. It's obvious. Next one. All right. Spread of COVID-19 led to widespread panic and significant changes in daily life. This is effects of COVID-19. Very clearly stated. All right. So good. And then we have a conclusion. All right. So this person needs to have more than introduction. Their claims are all good. Their claims signify. Your paragraphs need to be obvious. This is a classification paragraph. This is a comparison contrast paragraph. This is a cause and effect paragraph. All right. Okay. Here we have a quote. As the World Health Organization states, COVID-19 has changed the way we live and interact with each other. World Health Organization 2020. Okay. Does this person need this parenthetical citation? And of course, the answer is no. Do not. Because World Health Organization is mentioned right here. Let's go down to the works cited page. It is from their website. So that is the organization, okay? Now, here's a little thing, y'all. The World Health Organization is not an author. It's an organization. It's published on their webpage, okay? So we would not actually have that, all right? We would have, it's essentially counted as no author. So you would have, quote, the title, and then the publisher, which is the World Health Organization. There's no author. There's no author to that. There's no human being, okay? So this is good, citing as the World Health Organization states, okay? But then this needs to be deleted. Now, I'll get to that later. So that needs to be deleted, and the period needs to be put inside. That would have been an error, definitely. All right, we go to the next paragraph. There's no quote being used here. Third paragraph. Look, this indentation is too much. It needs to only be one indentation, not two indentions, just one. So that needs to be fixed. As noted in the New England Journal of Medicine, the blank, 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 blank. Okay. So we go down to the works cited page. There's an author here, Rebecca Havagi and Michelle Mello. Those are our authors, Havagi and Mello. So up here, this is incorrect. New England Journal of Medicine 2020. We don't put titles or years in our parentheses. We only put authors' names. We only put authors' names and page numbers if there is a page number. So here, this would be effigy and mellow. That's what goes there. There's no year in which it's being published. If this was an APA, this is an APA paper, an APA citation format, you would have a year because APA is the American Psychological Association. It deals with science-based writing. And in science, years matter. This, we're using MLA, Modern Language Association. And MLA does not use years, okay? So this person might have looked up online how to cite this, and they might have found online showing them that they need to put that. And that would have been correct if this was APA, but this is not APA. This is MLA, Modern Language Association. So with that, we only have authors' names and page numbers because usually MLA is reserved for writing about literary criticism. Now, this is an English class, and most English classes, we tend to do literary criticism, but this is an English 1101 class. So you're doing nonfiction writing. We're still applying MLA formatting to this paper, okay? And so we do not use page, we do not use years in our parentheses, only page numbers. So this is actually effigy and mellow. Okay. Should have a comma here. Okay. Works cited page. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. This needs to be moved up because the title of the article is Corona disease, and this C is above, needs to be above H. All right. So there's some work for this person to do on their paper. But if we look at their outline, they clearly did their outline well. They have classification. Okay, they have compare contrast. And they have cause and effect. So good. All right, so let's look at essay 1 and essay 2. I'm sorry, essay 1, an A paper, essay 1, a D paper. This is essay 1, and it's an A paper. It's an A paper. Okay. It's an MLA formatting. There is a slight error. Look, 0, double, right? But not enough to really matter. All right, to take it out of the A category. We have heading, Isaac, Mr. Byers, English, date, last name, and page number up there, inserted, and changes every page. We have an anecdote. It follows the outline. You had to begin with an anecdote. It was 7:28 p.m. and time to walk in for practice. And just in case you're wondering, let's say essay 1 outline. Anecdotes, definition, exemplification, conclusion. Why you want to talk about this topic? That's my outline. That's the outline I wanted you to use for essay 1. So here we have. Oh no. Am I sharing? I better be this whole time. Okay. It was 7:28 p.m. and time to walk in for practice. I watched other girls walking to the gym, smiling and laughing, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so here we have an anecdote, all right? Then we have anxiety lives within everyone, whether it's constant or dependent on the situation or stress you are under. All right, this defines anxiety. Then we have a quote, Christina Karen, writing for the New York Times. Look, title of the newspaper in italics. Discusses more symptoms of anxiety when she states, and then we have a comma after states, I had gone over that. And then we have a capital A. That's perfect. We don't have a parenthetical citation because the author's name is already mentioned. Perfect. Now we have an example. Anxiety is demonstrated in a recent movie, Inside Out 2. Okay. We don't really need this, but I'll forgive that because it's not really a parenthetical citation. It's not quoting anything, just saying the year. And that's just additional information. So that's fine. Okay. We have an example of anxiety. No quote. That's okay. Didn't need one in every paragraph. Only really needed one. Then we have our conclusion. I've been exposed to the reality of anxiety within myself. So this is why it's important. Why this person wanted to talk about it. Boom. Okay. Covers the outline. And then the works cited page. Yeah, that's a little too much space, but fine. We have the hanging indent. We have the last name. We have the New York Times in italics. There are so many people who did not italicize the publisher. And that's a problem. You lost points. Okay. So this paper, it's an A. Now, what is an A? How much different does an A look from a D? Okay. Well, this is Jessica Alonso, not her real name. It looks like it's an MLA, all right? But this is a D paper. Okay, first off, the heading is off. See how it's indented to where this line is? It should be all the way over here. Okay. Notice there's additional spaces between paragraphs. Those are errors. We cannot have that. You do select all, go to paragraph, 0, 0, double, and then that goes away. All right. Oof. Get rid of this. All right. Taking care of yourself is incredibly important. Okay, so this starts to follow the outline. We have a personal narrative, but then here we have, according to an article by Psych Times. Okay, I've never heard of Psych Times, but if it's by them, it's a proper noun. I mean, it's a publisher, so it needs to be in italics. And then we need to have a comma after it. Maintaining a thorough skincare routine. Okay. So this, I assume that there's no author for Psych Times. I go down here. Psych Times staff. Okay. This Psych Times. This is incorrect. If there's no author, you don't have anything there. It's just the name of the article. Okay. Which this brings me to the next thing. This person lost so much because of their works cited page. Before I double spaced everything, this was not double spaced. This was single spaced. It was like this. Okay. So that's one problem. Next, it was all out of order. We had Psych Times. We had P, S, H, and K, all out of order. It was all out of order. That lost so many points. Listen, y'all can fail a paper just by all the errors you make on the works cited page. People seem to not think that's important, but it is. Also, this is not an author. If you don't have an author, you don't put anything there. Okay. So let's get this in order. H-E, okay. And then we have H-O. And then we have K. And then also, this is so hard to read, know where they are because there's no hanging indents. Got to have a hanging indent. The subsequent lines of each citation needs to be indented. If you do that, if you try to indent the second line, it does that. But I've already gone over this before. You go to the end of the previous line, hit tab. End of the previous line, hit tab. There we go. There we go. All right. So like that just lost like 40 points pretty much just for the works cited page alone. So we had this error. So these formatted, oops. These were pushed over too much. So that was an error. Then we had way too much space between paragraphs. Oops. Those were errors. Then we had this was an error. Okay. Now this paragraph starts to define what self-care is. Okay. Here in an article by Self-Confidence Quest, that's a name of an organization. So that needs to be in italics. That was an error. There needs to be a comma after the verb here. It says if you have a verb and then you have a capital letter in the quote, you got to have a comma. Comma. So that was an error. So the paragraphs are on track. They follow the outline, but this was all full of a lot of formatting errors, okay, and quoting errors, and that still caused the person's paper to fail. Okay, you can't just be like, huh, well, you know, I did most of it correct. Which I mean, doing most of it correct, that does represent a 65. 65 is on the other side of half points, but it's not to the point of, and it's passing. A D is passing technically, so a 65. This is a 65. It did enough to pass, but still had way too many errors to justify a higher grade. Okay, so you know we still got to pay attention to the small details. So many people seem to have turned in papers with just not even trying really to do a good works cited page. Okay, they weren't putting forth enough effort to look at what's happening between their paragraphs. They weren't putting up enough effort to really look at the sources that they were citing and how they were citing it and how they were writing it. Okay, so we need to make sure we pay close attention to the small little details. All right. Okay. I hope this was helpful and useful for you. I hope that you can use this in editing your current paper and getting ready to submit it on Sunday or Monday night. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Peace out. Goodbye.